Hey guys, here I am on Facebook, in my computer room. I want to talk about Skeets and the whole concept of a speaker. What time is it? Oh, Monday morning. Okay, so the normal Skeets was this. Just a flat piece of that material. What the hell is it called again? Phalonic resin. It's like wood chips and a whole bunch of stuff. It's sort of like MDF, but it's like waterproof. Scarily hard, nice stuff. Can machine it great. Now, normally when I started doing this, I used to put the speakers on their spikes. And as I've been going on, I've been finding out that, it's great having the spikes, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to keep your speaker from moving and stable, right? And a small point is always going to be more stable than a large point. Now, they were designed naturally to go through carpet, so you wouldn't have no movement. But I was finding out that when you're putting spikes directly to the floorboards, you're making them part of the floor. So back to this. Now, they slide around. And the guys I was talking to, they were saying, like on my Skeets, what I do is I put felt. Well, see, felt helps it from going. But all of a sudden, you got a suspension. And if you're doing four spikes, the suspension is never going to be the same. And with floor movement, it's going to move around. So you can use cork. A larger suspension doesn't move around. Now, one of my first Skeets when I started looking Skeets was a nickel with a divot in it. And it would slide around. So what I did is I put skateboard grip tape on it to make it stop moving around. Now the thing is when you're playing music, it was all fine, but if you walked around the house, your floors move, and they would displace themselves. Just by walking around, sometimes you like to dance when you listen to music, they move around. So this is my last one I decided to build. What makes this wild is if you take a look at the top, the spike rests on 3 points. So it has area to move back and forth. This way, it would not be perfectly seated on it. It would move about. And what I did is I went 3 points. Now, if you know anything about 3 points, it's self-leveling. And it's always in contact with it. If that was 4 points, very hard. That's why you have adjustments and you got to do things to it. Why did I put this piece of rubber on it? Compliant pressure. Right? See, there's a little bit of pressure there? Right? Well, what happens is, when walking around, this, even with a piece of felt, not being perfectly solid to the floor, well, not solid, but how could I describe this? I'm not a big video guy here, but would move. And the speaker would move about, even if you would do this. Now the thing is you couldn't get them to perfectly rest equal. And if anybody knows anything about hardwood floors, every joint, it's impossible to have that laid flat. Now you can find your spots where it'll lay flat, but your speakers don't end up there. If you end up here, see a rock? Even if you put a compliance, but then all of a sudden you got a suspension, and once you put a suspension underneath your speakers, you're getting movement. What is it? Quadraspire. What they do is they put a slug with Zorbathane on a flat. So you still got a suspension. What you want is a speaker to be placed and only the driver's moving. Any movement of a speaker back and forth like that fucks timing. Mine, anywhere you want to put them. You put pressure on it, look, can't rock. And the thing is if you move around, they stay put. Just like, look, this is my room. I'm not even walking. Look at the plant. See the plant? Moves. Now, when you're walking around, you got your speakers placed. Now, on spikes, they're not going to move, but every time you move, they're going to impale themselves more in the floorboard. This is the laws of fucking nature. And they'll never be level. They'll rock. The way I got this is the pressure of that gasket's pushing up on the spike. Listen to that. There's no movement. And it helps to get the floor away from the speaker. My big thing was to get these speakers to stay solid and not move around and try to get the floor away from them. I'm telling you, once you get the floor away from a speaker, oh, it's amazing. So I hope this helped. I don't know. See you guys.